This is the Peter Greenwood Show at the Edinburgh Fringe. I'm here talking to people who have shows up here. And there's a lady sitting opposite me. Could you tell me your name and your show title, please?
My name is Donna Oblongata, and my show is The Van Gogh Show, or the Dutch pronunciation would be The Van Gogh Shogh.
That was one of the first things I wanted to ask you. How many times have you had people going, is it Van Gogh Shogh?
They don't really ask. What I've actually done is create a real conundrum for myself where when I'm advertising the show in writing, it's very simple. When I have to say the title, I get a little flustered because it doesn't translate.
I think what you should do is you should say the Van Gogh Shogh, just to confuse people.
Oh, yeah, that would actually be very confusing. That's a good idea.
Fantastic. Please feel free to take that.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm keeping that one.
How are you today, Donna?
I am good. It's a gorgeous day here in Edinburgh, which, it's not always here.
It's not. But it's
so it's
me,
really
it's
nice.
just a touch too warm and I'm getting a little bit clammy and
Hilarious.
I'm never happy. I am like a lizard. I need to be kept exactly the right temperature. Anything either way and I am utterly miserable.
That's very funny. Yeah, I keep reading these headlines about like Britain is in this horrible drought and it's so hot and we're all dying of heat. And I'm like, I'm still wearing a jacket every day.
Yeah. Edinburgh, have you been to Edinburgh before? Is this your first
I
Fringe?
came last year, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You will have noticed that Edinburgh is its own microcosm. Like, whatever is happening in the rest of the country excludes Edinburgh. It should have its own place on the weather.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I believe that.
So let's talk the Van Gogh Show. What is the Van Gogh Show?
The Van Gogh Show is a immersive, wild, participatory clown show. Solo. I'm the only performer in it. Though, over the course of the show, 4 audience members get the chance to come up and learn to paint from the master himself. Yes, it is wild. And things really go from there. I don't like to give too much away because there's a lot of surprises, but there's some karaoke.
Oh my.
There are some...
Are you doing the karaoke or is the audience?
It's a duet. It's a duet.
Okay.
It's really, really fun. It's super unhinged. And I often ask, when people say, like, what's this about? I often say, well, are you familiar with the Van Gogh immersive experience? Because most people, even if they haven't been, they've seen the ads. Mm-hmm. And I sort of think of it as this really deranged take on the Van Gogh immersive experience.
I went to that Van Gogh immersive experience.
And how was it?
It existed.
It was expensive, I imagine.
Full disclosure, I had a press preview, so it wasn't.
Oh.
But I understand tickets could get pricey.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And if I were to be a massive bitch about it, I feel like the projections could have been just a little bit tighter.
Oh, interesting.
Just sharpen that lens a fraction.
Well,
But that's just me. That's just my thoughts.
Okay, good to know. I mean, I would say if you're saying like if I was going to be a massive bitch, I mean, I think if you were going to be a massive bitch about it, you could maybe just be me and make my show, because that's my show has quite a few more things to say about such things.
Amazing. I am so curious. There's so much I want to know, but I don't want to spoil it. How long have you been doing this show for?
Oh my gosh.
Where did it come from?
It literally came from those days. I feel like it was probably 2023 around then, right? That just, you could not get away from these ads for the Van Gogh. It was right? Because we were coming out of COVID. People wanted things to go to, but it was, right. And so there were just these ads, every bus, every online thing, just everywhere. And literally I was standing around in my house with my partner and my best friend, and we were just talking about something. And my partner just cracked this joke and was like, well, you know what the real Van Gogh immersive experience would be, just being miserable and depressed and crazy and having everyone tell you that you suck and then killing yourself while dying in poverty. And I was like, oh, that's a very, very funny idea. And I just ran with it. And that was like 3 years ago. And so, it took a while, of course, to make the show and then started touring it. And I've been touring it for like two to 3 years, but it's so heavily dependent on the audience, and it's such a genuine clown show in terms of like, every night is different and you really don't know where it's going to go or what's going to happen. And so I've been doing it for a couple of years, but I would say only really in the last 6 months do I personally as an artist feel like, all right, it's locked in,
Yeah. And what were some of the things that you started with that maybe haven't kept along? What have you dropped, and do you regret dropping anything from the show?
That's a really good question. A lot of the things are very small, right? That no one would really notice except my director, right? Where it's like, you know what? Let's lose that line. Just very like actually since we got here to Edinburgh, we literally just we cut the last line of the play, which was a line I really liked, and she was like, I just think that it's stronger without that line. And literally the night we cut it, got a standing ovation. And I was like, she was like, see what I did? I was like, all right, that's why you're the director. Little things. I'm not an improv person. I don't have an improv background. I'm historically very, very uncomfortable with improv. I love things to be tight and structured, even if I know I can have space to play within them. This show, because the audience has so much control, there's necessarily a lot of improv, and there's a lot of, people call it crowd work. I don't consider it crowd work, but it is interacting with the crowd.
Yeah.
In the earlier iterations of the show, a lot of it was much more tightly scripted. It was much more, and then whatever happens, I'm going to say this. And now it's a lot more, we just see what they do, and then I actually respond in real time.
There must have been some great audiences, but also some really bad audiences.
Oh, yeah.
Well, what's the worst audience, and how do you, just between us, what's been the worst audience, and how do you handle that?
I'll be honest, the worst audiences, and I've performed this show pretty much all over the U.S. I performed it in London. I performed it in Amsterdam. Now I'm here. I'm going to be real. I think the worst audience is in New York City.
Really?
And I've done a bunch of shows in New York at a bunch of different venues, and I always think like, New York, they're artsy, they're weird, they're all this stuff. And the show, I will be, no spoilers, but the show, it has a lot to do with money and capitalism and how we value art and artists. And New York, a place where people are very familiar with this dialogue, and where people, even if they are struggling, have money. I'm like, I know what you people pay in rent, you know? I know what you pay for a coffee. And they are the most, in my experience, they are the least creative, least fun audiences that I have had. And I don't know what it's about. I don't know if it's that they're stressed out, or they like have ideas about art, or what. Edinburgh Fringe audiences so far have been a blast. Right. I think we all know that Fringe audiences tend to show up with a few Aperol spritzes tossed back.
Couple, 2-3 sippies.
Couple, right? And I have a 6:25 show. My show is at 6:25 in the evening, and it's funny because when I applied for the Fringe, when I was going back and forth with the venue, there was this vibe of like, well, in many ways it feels like a late night show.
Yeah.
And I was very clear, like, I do not want a late night slot, because I want my audience 2 drinks in, not 7 drinks in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like at just starting to come out.
Right. Like, okay, we're having fun,
yes.
not we're taking over the show.
Yeah. That is genuinely surprising. New York. Again, as you said, I would have thought New York. Concrete jungle, wet dream tomato. It's puzzling to me, and I've done the show in multiple venues there in different situations over the course of a year, and it's sad. It's sad to be like, oh, you guys, because also there's a lot of parts of the show where I'm asking the audience questions, and trying to get them to be kind of like goofy and imaginative, and the New York audience is like, just. They can't kind of do it. And I've done the show in like really tiny towns in the middle of nowhere in the US and stuff. And those audiences are a blast because they don't get this kind of stuff ever, right? Places where it's like, oh, the whole town's going to come out because this is the thing that is happening tonight, That was so much fun. So what's been the most surprising thing an audience member has said?
Oh my God.
Like something that absolutely like when I ask a question, boom, instinct goes right to that individual.
That is a really good question. Oh my gosh, I'm sure that I've thought of this a million times, but I'm freezing up right now. Okay, because this is awful. I think what I tend to go to is things that I've done and said that have surprised myself, where I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe that came out of my mouth. What was that? What things that audience members have said that have really surprised? Oh, I'll say yesterday. Yes, I was shocked by this, and I a little bit didn't even know how to handle it because I was sort of delighted by it, right? A lot of the time, especially if people have been drinking, right? audience members can, right? They think they might, there's usually one or two in the crowd who like they think they're very funny, right? They think,
yes.
right? They think they have a funny joke that everyone will like, and
I hate that.
right, and it's never funny, right? The jokes are never funny, and it's always just like, yeah, leave it to the professionals, guys, right? Yesterday at my show, one of the guys, he was up there painting, and I drink Tennent's in the show. Like I'm drinking a beer, and I don't know Scottish. I don't know your local beer. So to me, I'm like, this was just a cheap beer that we bought, and it's what I'm drinking. And I'm drinking, and I think I belched or something. And and I'm talking to him, and I belched, and he goes like, "Well, that's Tennent's for you." And I just kind of stopped, and everybody laughed, and I just kind of stopped. And I was like, that is a genuinely funny joke, and the audience members never make, and I kind of had, and I think I just said like, I gotta hand it to you, like I just kind of stopped and let it sit because he did a good job.
You know what? You said that, and I'm like, oh, I see. That is Tennent's. That is Tennent's for you.
Oh, see, right. I was a little bit like, I don't really know exactly what that means, but it was funny.
Yeah. Tennent's is like, you know how you have the store brand alcohol?
Yeah.
Tennent's is like the next level up.
Okay.
Like it's very accessible, so it's nice enough.
Yeah.
It's good enough.
I was like, that's very funny.
Yeah. So, while this obviously isn't a historical portrayal of Van Gogh's life,
In no way.
I would guess. Why Van Gogh? Aside from the bus adverts and things, have you thought of doing it with any other artist?
No, it's literally because it's right. I mean, it really came because of that immersive experience, and then the show really wrote itself because as soon as you start thinking about it, he touches everything, right? He touches the idea of the tortured artist. He touches conversations about reproduction and commercial success. He touches our ideas about how do we value art, or right, like his paintings go for $70 million, but he died in poverty, right? Like he touches every single thing, and so anything that I want to talk about or explore in that realm, he's perfect for it,
Yeah.
So yeah, it's so funny because I'm often like, I kind of it's weird to say and it surprises people, but I'm like, I don't actually really care about Van Gogh or his work. Like,
okay.
it's not that I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not really a fan. I don't actually, when I get these reviews that are like a beautiful, moving homage, I'm like, to this great artist. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I make him look completely insane and miserable, which he was.
Yeah, he had his troubles. You could say.
Yeah. Which everybody, that's the other thing that's great about him is you don't have to know anything about art, right? No matter who you are, right? You could name one of his paintings, you could name Starry Night, and about the ear, right?
Yeah.
Like no matter who you are. So it's all very accessible, which is great.
So no chance of like a Dali show?
No.
Are you sure the mustache can get you some laughs?
No. I'm sort of on this, I'm really, I don't know, content warning or whatever. I'm very interested in like male suicide as just sort of like I don't know, there's something about it that kind of captures my imagination. So I'm interested in historical figures or whatever, dead guys. But I think I'm limiting myself to people who kill themselves.
That's fair. That's a market. That's its own genre.
I don't know.
It'll be on the Ed Fringe website.
There's something interesting to me about that.
Yeah. Where can people find out more about you and the show online?
They can find out about it at donnaoblongata.com, DonnaOblongata.com. They can find out about it on my Instagram page, which is Instagram.com/DonnaOblongata. They can find out about it on the Assembly website, because I'm with Assembly. They can find out about it on the Edinburgh Fringe website. They can find out about it by walking into the front room at St. Andrew's Square at 6:25 p.m. any day except for Wednesday this month.
Donna, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me. This was really fun.
Donna Oblongata, the Van Gogh Show, is playing at 6:25 at the front room at Assembly at George Square every day until the 30th, not including Wednesday the 19th or the 26th. For more tickets, go to edfringe.com and search for Donna Oblongata. Until next time at the Edinburgh Fringe, I've been your host, Peter. See you next time.